Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is Wrestling Chat with Friends. I am joined by my main man. You see him, you see the collection. Elliot the Collector. How you feeling this week, my man?
I am here. I am present. I am accountable. I am hyped. My collectible of the week is the Tony Schiavone graphic
Wow.
novel. Last year, I participated in the Kickstarter campaign to get this done. We met all the goals for the Kickstarter. They raised 120 grand. So this book came with a soft cover copy, which I've given to my brother, and it came with a ton of other great stuff. Autographs and special things, pins, and some great art in this book. So Tony Schiavone is called Butts in Seats. I'm sure you've heard him talk about it. It's an autobiography in graphic novel form. It's really awesome.
That looks phenomenal. Tony Schiavone is a legend, one of my all-time favorites. Have you read the book? Have you learned anything? Are there any takeaways from Tony Schiavone's autobiography graphic novel version?
I'll be honest with you. I have skimmed through a lot of it. Here's my takeaway. I knew way too much about Tony Schiavone than I actually realized. A lot of these stories I've either heard him talk about on a podcast,
That's
or
amazing.
I've been down YouTube rabbit holes and seen different videos we talked about it. Not too much surprised me, but like you, Tony is a legend. He is the voice in my head when I think about my childhood wrestling love, TBS on Saturday nights.
Right.
Every YouTube video I like to watch centers from that studio down in Atlanta. And yes, Tony Schiavone, my favorite guy. I've had a chance to meet him on a couple of occasions.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Well, one time was just at an event many, many years ago. And then I went to Jimmy Seafood in Baltimore for him and Conrad Thompson did one of their first live podcasts. I went to that too.
The interesting thing about Tony Schiavone, and you alluded to it, you and I both have talked about our love for the old NWA, early days of WCW, and that is where Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross, Clash of Champions 1, 1988, was done by Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross in Greensboro, North Carolina, I believe. Phenomenal voice. He did leave the industry for a while,
For
right?
a long while.
And Georgia football, was it?
Georgia football. Then he did Gwinnett baseball also.
Just a
And
phenomenal voice.
and he worked at Starbucks for a while too.
What?
That's a famous part of his history, is that he was working for Georgia football. He had some radio gigs associated with Georgia. I think he was doing Gwinnett too, but he also he needed to keep some like health insurance. He
Wow.
says he always liked Starbucks, and he got a job. He didn't do it for very long, because right around the time he started doing it is when Conrad Thompson grabbed him for the podcast, and that
Wow.
brought him back into the wrestling world, and he hasn't left since. Thank goodness.
Last question on this. When you say Tony Schiavone was working at Starbucks,
I know, right?
was he a barista or was he corporate Starbucks?
Barista working the drive-through.
Are you kidding me?
And well, I don't know what the life of a Georgia radio play-by-play guy
Sure.
pays. Thought it would have paid enough to have a decent living. He has 5 kids. He has
Sure.
a lot of grandkids. He was doing, he was hustling, doing these sort of radio gigs. I'm guessing he made a okay. I mean, he didn't have any money from wrestling back in the day.
No.
He had lost his love for it. He really had been almost blackballed. He was completely at wrestling, and he got the job to, he said, maintain health insurance for a while. And also he just liked the company, liked the culture. I don't think he really did it for very long, but he was serving at the drive-thru. Could you imagine going through the drive-thru, getting a triple macchiato, and Tony Schiavone is giving it to you?
It really depends on the setting in the year, I guess. There are so many situations where you see people and they're out of context and you think, one, oh, well, that's not that person. Or two, I don't believe I would see Tony Schiavone in Starbucks and maybe even recognize him. Even if he looked exactly the same, my mind would go to that can't be Tony Schiavone.
Right, because what's Tony Schiavone, the voice of my childhood, doing a barista at Starbucks?
That is, hold it up one more time, Elliot. That's an amazing collectible.
Oh yeah,
That's fantastic. And
I was happy to support it on Kickstarter when I saw it. I pledged at a certain amount to make sure I got all the swag, and yeah, it's awesome.
that is phenomenal. And I will say, when I knew, oh,
There's
that's
some,
great.
there's some great art in it too. Oh, it's as much about his personal life as about anything else. But oh yeah, it's sort of like it's the Tony Schiavone version of like the Young Rock series.
Right,
There you go.
right. I knew AEW was serious when they bought in Tony Schiavone, when they bought in that golden voice, because I didn't know Excalibur. Very impressed. I think
Me
Excalibur
too.
is probably the best in the game right now. He's really, really good. I didn't know Excalibur. We know Jim Ross has lost a little bit on the fastball. He's been through a lot of health challenges. No fault of Jim Ross's.
Hmm.
But when they bought Tony Schiavone in to help support, you knew you had Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, Excalibur. You knew you had something.
I gained a lot of trust and confidence when they did that. You're right.
Right. Right. Well, my man, we have been gone for 2 weeks. A lot has happened in the wrestling world. We're going to talk about as much of it as possible, throw some predictions out there, have a lot of fun. But as always, we have to start quickly by saying we are on the Family Podcast Network. Please check out thefamilypn.com. Follow us on social media. Make sure you keep up with everything the Family Podcast Network. Wrestling Chat with Friends is one of, I think we're up to 13 shows now, so we're really excited about that. So please follow it all, subscribe. We're very excited. We need your support. And now, Elliot the Collector, let's get into what
Let's
we've
do
missed
it.
the last 2 weeks. What are you popping for this week as we start the show, my man?
As I've gotten into this role as a co-host last few weeks, I've done a few pops of the week. I've started really thinking about what a pop truly is to me. Now, I see things every week that I like, things that I think, oh, that's cool. I like what they're doing here. I see plenty also that I say, why are they doing that? Or come on, not again. The things that pop me now are the things that actually make me lean into the television, or actually maybe get out of my seat and give me like the Jimmy's right there. Like I get excited. Those are what pops are for me now. This week, only one thing did it. You probably know what it is, and most people, I think,
I think so.
it was very spontaneous. It was very organic, and it was 6 words that had me sort of like throwing my head back and laughing. We want Enzo. No, we don't. When I heard that chant began, I had to listen. Is that what they're saying? Oh, and I just kind of went, that's so good. Like I was real. I mean, I genuinely like popped. Like, oh, that is freaking great. Very clever, very creative, very organic. Crowds, they rarely let you down. Um,
They
they really do, especially AEW crowds. They've been with it. They have their ups and downs, but when an AEW crowd is hot,
right.
it lends for great moments. And last night was a great moment. It was great seeing Morrissey out there, and you were wondering like, oh God, please let me bring up Enzo. The crowd did it for them,
Right.
and they did it great. We want Enzo. No, we don't. That was my pop. Cheats, what was yours?
That's a great one. That is a great one. I'm trying to think it through in the perspective that you labeled out what really got me excited. And I feel like I'm cheating because I think even 2 weeks ago we said the DC Capital Collision New Japan show is one of the things that we're excited for.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's a lot of wrestling that's taking place, and there's a lot of things that got me excited. But when I saw that Will Ospreay and John Moxley are going to be in the ring together on the card, the more I learn about what this New Japan run of the United States, these Capital Collision runs, I can't help but get excited. I'm so excited about this show that's coming up. now less than 2 weeks away. We have Saturday, and then next Saturday we'll all be there. Wrestling chat with Friends crew will be there. Megan, we forgot, would be remiss if we didn't say Megan is down right now. Shout out to Megan, our favorite heel and heel. She is recovering. She will be fine. She did test positive. Oh, I'm working on the filling space, but she did test positive, but she's feeling a lot better.
For COVID, please add that.
Yes, yes. I I feel at this point, no matter where you are, no matter what, my whole family was down in
Hmm.
January. I don't know a person at this point that hasn't had at least 1 degree. Shout out to Megan. I know she's doing better. She got a big, big, big win for her high school students that she teaches spoken word poetry for, and the first ever poetry slam competition for high school students, like intertwined with the school system. It's a big deal, a big
Nice.
win. So, congratulations to Megan. Get well soon, Megan. We will see you in DC.
Down but
So
never
excited
out.
about it. So, with that, to answer your question, I'm excited about Capital Collision, Washington, D.C., New Japan Strong. If I have to pick what I'm popping for that has happened already, that happened in the last 2 weeks, I'll go recently back to the same show that you just mentioned. When I saw the Ray Phoenix Dante Martin announcement for the Owen Hart tournament, I went crazy. I knew that that would be a match that was going to go well. Full disclosure, I'm Ray Phoenix is probably one of, if not my favorite wrestler right now.
He's
He I
aces.
just I just love him. Really, really scared about the injury that he took. So glad that he came back, and he seems to be doing well. He fought at the, how do you say it, Elliot? Triple Mania?
Triple Mania.
He fought at Triple Mania, which had a lot of AEW impact on that show. He came back and fought Dante on Dynamite. Really excited about that performance. Little bit concerned about where Dante goes future wise here in the story, but
First, did the match live up to your expectations?
it did. I knew what it was going to be. You go in thinking, what are you going to do, flippity flip wise, kick wise, selling wise. It did all of that. The one thing I guess it didn't do was it never delivered the Sammy Scorpio Sky cut her off a ladder or something that everyone had to stop and collect their breath for an extended amount of time.
It tried to, that last spot where they both did the backflip. That was
That
supposed
was
to
very cool.
that was supposed to be it. That was because that was the penultimate move before the finisher, which was just like Sammy. So that was supposed to be it. It was a little too
Scripted.
jointly
Yep.
scripted,
Yep.
choreographed.
Yep.
I think you even heard. Oh no, I'm thinking of the. And there was a, you heard a call in the Morrissey Wardlow match
Yep.
where Morrissey asked him if he was ready to go, and he said, "Yeah." You heard that on the
Yep.
screen. So yeah, you didn't hear anything in that spot, but it was just a little too perfectly scripted. But that was, had it been a little more organic, it would have gone over great. It would have been, I think, that
It went
same type
over. It
move,
went
but
over well, but you could tell they were angling for it. It took a little bit too long
yeah.
when they were both on the top rope to angle for it and make it happen. Uh I noticed it, and I thought it was a great move.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was a good match, not a great match, but they
Mhm.
also leave room for more when you talk about what Ray Phoenix can do
But
and
Dante,
what Dante can do.
what we hope, we mean, yeah, there's, oh, because of the stacked roster, there's going to be some people that just get, they get off TV for a month, and depending on what you were doing beforehand, you never know.
Dante's the new Jay Lethal at this point.
Let's hope not. He's quite the talent.
Elliot, this is a great first segment. However, we actually have a friend that we're going to bring on. This is the first time to Wrestling Chat with Friends, the first time guest. I'm going to bring him in right now. Muscle Man Malcolm, thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
Welcome to
man.
the show. You are live, by the way, right now on Twitter, on our YouTube. So I want to tell you right away that you're live because we didn't have time to prep in advance with you directly. But thank you so much for joining Wrestling Chat with Friends, my man. Welcome to the program.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Going great. Welcome.
That's what's
We're
up.
we're excited. My name is Cheats. My main man Elliot the Collector. We're excited to have you and to learn more about your journey because I'll tell you how it happened for me. We were going through I I think I was going through wrestling social media feeds.
Yeah.
Not sure if it was TikTok, but it was definitely YouTube. And I was floored, stopped, and I think I was on your YouTube page for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours straight, learning everything about your passion and love for professional wrestling and all the other things that you do. So, Muscle Man Malcolm, welcome to the show. How do you want us to address you first? I want to make sure I get it right.
Muscle Man, Malcolm, anything. You can call me that guy in the hat, whatever.
Well, Malcolm, I'll say what Cheats did when he was stumbling came across your page. That was me this afternoon for about an hour and a half. I could not leave your page.
Nice.
They were so good. Your Cody Rhodes WrestleMania video, my personal favorite. That was amazing. The names you were calling out beforehand, perfect. You have lived a good part of your life the way I would have dreamed to have lived, and you're wearing a Pirates hat, so you're all aces in our book.
My guy. Yes, sir.
So tell us, because for those who are not familiar with your work and what you do, especially in the professional wrestling space,
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the journey. This show is all about the journey and elevating our friends to have our audience know exactly who you are and what you do. Your audience is bigger than ours by far. So, but please tell us how this all came about and what puts you in the mix, because you are now in the mix with all of the people doing major work and major commentary on professional wrestling.
I appreciate it. So I first got into doing like wrestling YouTube. I moved to DC when I was like 13. Didn't have a whole lot of friends, needed something to do. So I had a bunch of wrestling action figures. So I just like play with them and like do little like animation and pick fed and stuff. And that was kind of like the first journey into doing YouTube stuff. After that, I did some fitness videos for a little bit, talk about powerlifting a lot, but it didn't really catch the traction that I really wanted to. So I kind of switched back to wrestling. And yeah, I just started making wrestling content ever since. I vlog a lot, go meet a lot of wrestlers, et cetera, et cetera. And then eventually I think I started interviewing. I think the first ever interview was Lance on Hawaii. He's one like the Samoan Dynasty, obviously. Interviewed him at MCW show. I liked it. The thought came out well, so I kept doing it. And now we're here.
Well, you said something that sparked my interest because I'm the collector. You were in DC playing with your wrestling figures. What year was that? Because I want to know. By telling me the year, I could almost see what figures they were and how much money you could make if those were still in the package right now.
Word. I'm just noticing all the AEW guys right behind you. That's what's up,
man. Yeah,
I only have like 3 AEW figures. It's like Rio, MJF, and I think Nick Jackson. One of the Young Bucks, but I think it was 2012.
2012, okay.
Yeah, 22. I know I had a Flex Force Shawn Michaels, and I hated it so much. It was like the best thing ever, so I threw it away, and then I got a real one, like
$35 in the box right now on eBay. That's what they go for.
I wish it was still in the box.
Yeah. These are going to stay in the box. I was coming across like Ringside Collectibles right around the time I was really filling my Twitter feed up with wrestling, getting back into that. And it was right around the time they had announced the series of these. And I really like the AEW product. And I said, the series 1, you never know what it's going to look like in 10, 15 years. Might as well get them. And then I got series 2 and series 3, series 4. And fortunately now, because my wife will literally kill me if I buy any more, I'm only buying like maybe 1 or 2, just the wrestlers I kind of like now. But I've got 48 right now. That suddenly happened in the last year. I got 48 on my wall. So it's we all have our vices. It's all right.
I've got to ask, because you made it sound so casual. You made it sound I'm in DC, wrestling figures, started making some powerlifting content, and then went to wrestling content. And there has to be moments, not just a moment, but
Okay.
moments in this journey that
Yeah.
was okay, this is pivotal. This move here was pivotal. I'm a journalist, I'm a hip hop journalist, and one of my buddies invited me to a hip hop show 10 years ago. And I didn't know anything. I'm just gonna come watch the show.
Yeah.
What were some of the landmark moments in this journey for you that now, because he's being real modest, folks, he's interviewed just about everyone in the game at this. I mean, there's a lot in the game that you've interviewed. And you don't get to that point and having people when they see you, the smile comes on their face. I don't know if it's a work, but they're like, "Hey," and they're into it.
I smile a lot, so that's why when people they just smile. Like I don't know what to do with my face at the time, so I just like leave a cheesy smile on, so they just kind of go.
That's the right move. You smile at all the wrestlers, but what's more important is they smile at you. They know who you are, and that makes you an icon.
I appreciate that.
What were some of the steps in this journey, that game-changing steps as you went through the process to where you are now and still growing?
That's a good question. Okay, so the first one that comes to mind, I think, was like the biggest one because it's one of my bigger interviews. I think it has a little over 10K. Excuse me. So I made a video back in like whenever All In was. That was like 2017, 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I made a video like a couple months after. I was like, Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes was the greatest match of the last decade. Better than Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, etc. Because I'm with it. I love that match. And so I make a video about that, and I talk about, I think like the next week I talk about Dusty Rhodes being, actually I'm wearing a Dusty shirt right now.
Shout out to the legend.
Yeah, I love the legends. Gotta respect him. But I think at the time he was the VP of NWA, David Lagana had seen that, and he messaged me and was like, "Oh, do you want to like interview Nick Aldis or something?" I'm like, "Yes." Sure. So Nick was gonna be at this show called Nova Pro. It's like a local indie in Virginia, DC area. I don't think it runs anymore, but it used to. And I got there and I talked to Aldis on camera for like 20-ish minutes, I think. And like that was kind of like the big moment. I'm like, oh, well, that went well.
Right.
But yeah, because like before that, I've been watching a lot of like Chris Van Vliet, Alicia too, people like that. And I'm like, yo, wow, these guys are really killing it. I want to try to do that too. So yeah, so honestly, just watching people makes me just want to like work harder, you know? So.
What was your experience? Because you seem very natural at it. You seem very natural talking now.
Oh no!
What was your experience in interviewing folks? And
no, I'm very awkward now.
There's nothing awkward about you. I've seen enough videos, my friend.
Right.
I'm really good when there's a camera rolling. When there's not a camera, I'm so introverted. Okay. It's like night and day. But what was it?
No, I was asking. You seem very natural. Did you feel when you started?
Oh no!
Doing the interviews with wrestlers, did you feel as comfortable?
No, I felt awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm just really good when the camera turns on. Honestly, like besides that, I'm not a small talk person. I'm gonna get to it and get done. And like I will walk up to you, we'll introduce ourselves, and then I'm setting up the camera, asking, "What do you want to talk? Is there anything you don't want to talk about?" And then I'm hitting record. Like I'm skipping the small talk. I just want to get into it. And then when I'm done, I'm like, "All right, have a nice day." And just walk away. And like, I'm done. But no, I mean, like interviewing all this, like he was cool. He's a little intimidating at first because he's like big British man, you know, got the deep accent. But once you get to talk to him for a little bit, he's like the nicest dude. I was lucky that the first ever big interview I had was with Nick Aldis because he could understand that I was kind of new to it, so he didn't like give me too much crap. But like even after, he gave me a little bit of pointers and stuff on what to like work on, and it was great. Like I didn't take the heart because I was like, yeah, no, I know where I messed up, so like fair enough. I'd rather you say it than not say it. But yeah, no, I think it was just I was lucky that I got the right first big name in Nick Aldis because like he was super cool. I still talk to him every now and then when NWA pay-per-views come around. I was supposed to talk to him before like this multiverse show for Impact Wrestling, but I think Mickey James had car problems or something, so then it couldn't happen.
Well, Malcolm, I don't know if you know this, but Cheats and I are local to Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, we're in Richmond.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
see the RBA. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I've actually seen Nick Aldis and Mickey James at Target. Because
Oh wow.
actually
Okay.
I live in the same county as them.
Oh wow.
Cheats I don't think does. Yeah, I've seen them at Target just once. My friend works at the dentist's office that Mickey James takes their kid to. So like,
That's so sick.
we have some local Aldis James connections.
Hey, that's sick. That's what's up.
And we didn't ask, where are you based? Because you said you started in DC, but are you still in DC area or?
Yeah, I'm in DC right now. I'm probably gonna be moving into Maryland soon, so I'll basically DMV. So
Well, that
So we
means
may. So
we'll
that means
see
we
you
may see
at
you.
Capital Collision.
Capital
Yes,
Collision.
ma'am.
what day is that?
Not
A
this
week
Saturday.
from
next
this.
Saturday,
Yeah, the
May
14th.
14th.
I can't. I actually graduate college that day.
Oh, bro,
That is a
wonderful.
more
That's
than sufficient excuse.
a really sufficient excuse. It's a perfect excuse to miss what we're excited to be one of our first shows as a podcast. We're all going together.
Sick.
The
I
whole
really
crew.
wanted to go to that. That's New Japan, right? That all
Mhm.
clicked in my head.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to that because MCW also has a show, and I know Nick Aldis is going to be there, and like, shoot, I'm forgetting their names. Hardy Boys. Wow. Okay. That was amazing. Yeah, they're going to be there. I was like, man, I really want to go to it, but gotta graduate or whatever.
You mentioned a few indies as well.
Yeah.
What's your wrestling sensibilities in regards to what you watch? Do you watch everything? Do you stick mostly to the indies? Do you just watch everything from top to bottom and decide how you want to make content, how you want to talk to folks? How do you go about getting these amazing interviews and videos out to the world?
Bro, I'm just such a mark. I just watch everything. Like I just watch everything.
Well,
like,
you're in good company.
Last night there in Baltimore. Yeah, I watch everything. Like if it's wrestling, I'm gonna watch it. If it sucks, I'm gonna watch it. It's besides like Control Your Narrative, I'm not watching that. But like I watch pretty much everything.
Sure.
Minus some.
And when did you start traveling? To travel to shows and conventions and making that work? Was it all around the same time?
Not really. I mean, like going to like conventions and stuff. I mean, as far as interviewing wrestlers, I would say maybe about a year ago because I really got into interviewing during the pandemic because like everyone needed something to do.
Sure.
But as far as like just traveling in general, I mean, my aunt, she's a trooper. She'd be going with me everywhere. So I would go to like New York and stuff to go meet wrestlers. Like she took me to Ringside Fest to meet CM Punk when I was like 13. I met AJ Lee and Sin Cara the same day too. So yeah, I mean, I always been traveling for wrestling, so it's kind of just a lifestyle at this point.
That is awesome. So let's get into it. Let's ask you, what are some of your favorite wrestling personalities, wrestlers, and storylines going right now? It's a lot going on. We've got the Owen Hart tournament. We've got WWE Backlash. We've got Forbidden Door pay-per-view coming up. We've got a bunch of the indies are going crazy. We just had the Triple Mania show.
Yeah.
What are you loving about professional wrestling right now, and who are you loving?
I mean, as a whole, I just love the NWA. That's like my company. NWA, I love everything about it. Darius Lockhart should be the next world champion.
How many times every show we are shouting out Darius Lockhart. Darius Lockhart sent me a note that I asked for him to come on Wrestling Chat with Friends before we even started. We were super early. Yeah. And he sent the nicest email back. It said, not really the best on camera right now, or not, basically a nice way of saying, not yet, kid. But he's the nice, I mean, he seems like the greatest dude. We have to have him on the show. Darius Lockhart, I'm going to put a montage of me inviting you to this show because we love you here.
I interviewed him a few months ago. Nicest guy. Like super cool. I feel like I was like
brother.
I felt like I was. He's like close to my age. He's like 25, I believe. But like he talks like he's like 35. He has all this knowledge in his head. I'm like, yo, I just want to listen to you speak all day. You're so cool. But the NWA I love. I mean, everything about what they're doing is great. I'm gonna go to the Matt Cardona pay-per-view. I think it's Always Ready. I think that's the name of it. It's in June in Knoxville. I'll be there. Everything about that company is just solid to me. Who else do I like? I'm big on Miro Rusev. That's my guy. Loved him since I was like 12.
When's he coming back?
I don't know. He should come back soon.
You heard it here first. He might be there tomorrow night on Dynamite. The guy, who's what Lethal seemed to sound like. Who are we talking about? The guy that Lethal was talking about last night in the promo. In the promo was Singh and Dutch.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, who did they mention that's kind of a mystery opponent tomorrow night?
Samoa Joe has a Joker.
Samoa Joe. That's it. Samoa Joe. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if Miro comes out tomorrow night to challenge Samoa Joe.
Tomorrow night. Wait,
it's not tomorrow night.
Or
it wouldn't be.
It'd be Rampage.
No, it didn't happen on Rampage. I was there for that. Like I saw that show already.
So
it might be the next week. It might be next week.
Right. The Joker match is the first round of the Owen Hart tournament. It doesn't start until at least next week.
Yeah, because I was like, hey, I saw Rampage already yesterday. I'm not going to or anything, but
that's I think there's a decent chance he might make a return there. But yeah, I think he's been battling injuries. He's been pretty active on social media, but there are a handful of guys at AEW can say, hey, time to get this guy back on television.
I mean, Miro's my guy. I mean, I watched him like come up from like the indies. So Leo Rush is also my dude. I saw him debut in MCW. Saw him like go all the way up to WWE, GCW, AEW, etc. Whatever. I know he's out right now because of injury, but whenever he comes back, I'll be there watching all of it as well. So Leo Rush is definitely a top tier dude as well. Just respect to the guy. Women's wrestling is on fire recently, as always. Bianca Belair, hell yeah. Who else? Deanna. I'm such a big Deanna fan, and I was so disappointed in that.
What do you think?
Not because of Deanna, and there's no shade towards Mercedes, but the crowd sucked. The crowd sucked so bad. I was there, and like it was more quiet being there than it might have been on TV.
On television. It played okay on TV.
It was awkward because like I was screaming at the top of my lungs, Deanna, and I could hear myself echo in the arena. I'm like, wow, one's chanting except for me. Jesus Christ.
Well, then confirm this for us.
She's so
confirm this for us also, since you're talking about the crowd and since you were being there. Was the Jeff Hardy pop as loud as it sounded on TV?
The unfortunate part is that I went to the bathroom with Jeff. I missed it.
Could you hear that? Could you hear the pop? And like, what is going on?
I could hear the pop, but I was like, what theme song's that? I'm like, that sounds familiar. Whole time I'm wearing a Hardy Boy shirt, just not thinking about it. I'm like, I've heard that theme song before. That like in 2K or something. And then I walk out, I'm like, it's Jeff Hardy. Holy crap. What? I missed Jeff Hardy coming out. But yeah, I don't know. Baltimore was decent. The Enzo chant was much louder than you guys probably thought it was for the Big Cass or W. Morrissey match. It was very loud.
Well, earlier that we started the show off, earlier in the show, we always start the show with what are we popping for this week?
Yeah.
And this week I was popping for we want Enzo, no, we don't. When I heard that, I almost got off the sofa. I was just so giddy to hear that. I thought it was so clever. It was a little bit low. It sort of built up, but I'm sure in the audience it was so good. Like how did that start? Was it so organic that they just started throwing it out?
I was the one that started it. Actually,
there you go.
Hey, give that man a round of applause.
I started for Enzo, man. I'm trying to get back to my channel. But now, so like me and like two other people, we started chanting Enzo's name after like Big Cass made his entrance, or W. Morrissey, sorry. But eventually it got to the point where it got really quiet and I just screamed soft really hard. And then everyone else started chanting "We want Enzo." I'm like, "Let's go!" Everyone started something
amazing.
Malcolm,
let me ask this, because this seems very charmed, and you have been doing amazing work. Where do you want to go with this? Where do you think? Where do you see? Because and you can talk about this as well. You're an active power lifter, right? You're still power lift. That's where we are. Do you want to be a professional wrestler? Do you want to be more on the side that you're in now? What's the future look like for after this pinnacle graduation in a couple days here?
Yes, sir.
What's the future like with all of this stuff?
I will show you, because my friend and I just made a vision board yesterday. So I actually have it sitting right here.
Give that man a hand.
Wow.
Right here,
this. Give that man a hand.
So here's me, Muscle and Malcolm. There's the WWE logo, so that tells you exactly what I want. I also have the USA powerlifting logo right here. Here's Mark. Oh, not Mark Henry. Here's Mark Henry deadlifting, and the reason I put that there is because I want to break his record, and I shall. That's my father, and I'm his son. So yeah,
That's,
that's a
I
big
saw
goal.
that. I saw that video.
I saw that video too.
Yeah, that's my dad. We're cool like that. But I also do commentary or backstage interviewing for DPW, so I want to keep being there, doing great
Very
stuff.
nice.
I want to go to the NWA. That's a big goal this next year. Is to show up on their show in some capacity. GCW get backstage. They don't respond to emails well, so I'm trying to work. I'm trying to work my way in there. BKS. They're up in New Jersey. Big fan of them. Want to be there. I love House of Glory, New York. I want to be there. I train MC. Oh, I'm going back to training at MCW, so I will be there. AEW, I've done a couple press things for them already. I want to keep doing it. I'm gonna be there. I want 50K subscribers. I'm gonna be there. And then I want money, so I'll take that too.
That is phenomenal. Have you always been this driven and this focused? Because you're a young man, there's a lot to look forward to, but you have plans. Has this been your MO the whole time, or has this changed as you've gotten more mature and figured out what you want to do?
I would say it's definitely changed a little bit. I think I've always been driven, but I think it only gets like stronger each year. One thing I've always heard is like the 5 people you surround yourself with the most is like who you become. And like the friends I have, they're all very driven as well. So being around those kind of people really helps you push forward a little bit. So yeah, I think as I grow to be around great people, I'm only going to get better. So shout out to all the friends.
Cheats. This guy's it all figured out.
This is all this. So this is before your time, even though you'll know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just started watching the 3-part Netflix Kanye West documentary on Netflix.
I want to watch that. I haven't watched it yet. I need to.
What you said about the company you keep.
Yeah.
The amazing part of this is, again, it is the Kanye West you see today isn't the Kanye West in the documentary. You have to understand that.
Oh yeah. No,
and it goes through Elliot. It starts basically 1998 and goes through all of the lead up to the first album, and it goes through that as well. But what you see that I marvel at is you see young Pharrell, you see young John Legend, you see Jay-Z's already Jay-Z in the sense he's not Jay-Z today, but he's already the top rapper in the world. So, but you see all of these amazing Don C, D. Ray Davis, the comedian. You see all of these amazing talents today. All of them focused, scrapping, hungry, in Waffle House. Nobody knows who they are. Kanye can walk through Times Square several times with his mother before Most Def, Talib. You see all of these people before the break happens. Before it flips and it changes and the world changes. And the interesting thing is they have to be around creatives. All of these people have to be around passionate, driven, focused. There is nobody in these clips that we know of that was sitting there like, I'm good. I'm just chilling. I'm going to ride this out. No, all of them were, we gotta stay elevating and stay hungry. Malcolm, you seem to be the epitome of that. This is an amazing conversation to have. Let's have some fun before we get you out of here, because you are on a rocket ship. We can go many different directions. What I want to do, Elliot, if you're with me, I've got the brackets for the Owen Hart tournament.
Let's do it.
And I want to go through at least the first round and what we can make out, because we don't know who the Joker is. Malcolm, are you with me on this?
I'm with it.
I'm excited about talking about this match, and we won't go long, but Darby Allin, Jeff Hardy. Whew. Darby Allin qualifies by beating Swerve, which I love what they're doing. The booking is a lot like a New Japan tournament type thing.
Yeah.
I'm also like, Swerve just got there. Why are we having Swerve go down like this?
Yeah, I kind of want to see Swerve win too.
Who do you think goes over top, Jeff Hardy, Darby? Because both of them in any other scenario aren't, they're not putting anybody over, but one of them has to put somebody over in this match.
Yeah, I mean, like Darby is the AEW mainstay guy, but Jeff Hardy's newer, but he's also Jeff Hardy. I think because of how important this tournament is, I feel like you need to keep some big name value in it. That way, whenever someone beats him, it becomes a bigger moment. So I say Jeff Hardy, but I can understand why Darby Allin should win as well.
Elliot, who you got?
Well, I think that they want, who is it? They want Adam Cole to go over Dax. So this is really who's.
We haven't gotten to that match yet.
I know, but this match is for who Cole was going to face.
Yep.
So to Malcolm's point, I think either one of them would serve that. But I been going back and forth with this too. I think there is more options for Darby going down in this match because he can slide right back into his spot. He's going to have plenty of TV time with Sting. He's aligned with Sting right now, and they have people lined up that will take him on. So I think Hardy is going to go over. I won't say how that next round will go yet, but yeah, I think Hardy's going to go over too. I think he is new, fresh. He's getting pops as big as anyone else on the roster right now. So let's ride that and give his next opponent a real classic match.
He's getting huge pops. I lean Darby because of the AEW mainstay thing, and we talk about this. It seems as if when newer, bigger stars come into AEW, they still have to get they still put someone over. Darby doesn't need it. He's been there since the very beginning. But there's something in my mind that says they want to put Adam Cole up against Darby as opposed to Adam Cole up against Jeff Hardy, even though that might clear a easier way for Cole. I'm not sure. I'm going to go Darby with this one, but it could go either way. I don't know how it's going to end. I hope it's a phenomenal match. I think we can all agree we think Adam Cole's going to go over Dax.
I think for storyline reasons, that's what's going to happen. I would love to see an actual wrestling match because Dax would really deserve to go over. He's a better technical wrestler. He's a much stronger wrestler. But yes, for the storyline purposes, and Cole's going to go over on Dax.
Malcolm, you got Cole over Dax?
Nah. I want Dax to win. I mean, like, it makes more sense that Adam Cole wins. I understand that. But, like, I mean, he's such a big Bret Hart known Hart fan. Like, he got my heartstrings a little bit on that one.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I love Dax. I love FTR so much. So I want to see him, like, win the whole thing, honestly. So I want Dax.
Ride it. Yeah.
If Dax does go over, that definitely clears the way for the Hardy Darby side to be in the finals, possibly.
Yep.
This is an interesting one. Kyle O'Reilly, Ray Phoenix.
I mean, it's hard. Like, it's not that I don't care about it. It's that I know neither one of those guys could actually win the tournament. So, do I really care? Not. They're not going to win the tournament. But I love Ray Phoenix.
I love Ray Phoenix. Give me Ray Phoenix. If you can give me Ray Phoenix in any scenario, I love him. I want him to win.
Yeah, I mean, Ray Phoenix should win every match he's in, honestly. So just Ray Phoenix.
I agree with Ray Phoenix. For me, because I'm always thinking about the storyline, the big picture.
Yeah.
Is this tournament supposed to kick something off for Undisputed Elite? Because if they are, then it's going to make sense that Kyle O'Reilly wins. Now I don't know how it's going to end up. Do they want to have Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly in the finals? That really would make a lot of sense, but they want to keep those guys, I think, longer to make this sort of a, 2 out of 4 in the however they're going to do it. But for storyline reasons, again, just like before, I want Ray Phoenix to win. I think Kyle's going to end up going over though.
Fair enough.
The mystery match of the first round, Samoa Joe versus the Joker. We don't know who the Joker's going to be. Elliot, you think it might be Miro. My thought is whoever the Joker is, Jay Lethal ruins it for Samoa Joe somehow, and his faction ruins it for Samoa Joe. So whoever the Joker is, the Joker goes over. Is my thought.
Yeah, it should be a heel, just because, like, if Jay Lethal's going to ruin it, that should happen. But like the little part of me wants it to be Johnny Gargano really badly. So I don't know.
I would love that. I would
Yeah.
love that. I would love that.
I think Johnny Gargano is so like I'm with it.
The baby's been born, right? He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's ready. He's probably ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's do some rapid fire WWE pay-per-view backlash, and then we'll get Malcolm out of here, and he'll be able to continue doing his amazing work and also graduate. Now I'm really sad that we're not going to be able to see him at Capital Collision, because once we said he's in the DMV area, that's our. Richmond's not the DMV, we know that, but we're close enough. We're close enough.
I mean, I'm at pretty much every other show though. So if you come up to
Yeah.
another, I'll probably be there. Just hit me up.
Cheats. If it wasn't for Capital Collision, I'd want to come up and watch the graduation.
Yeah.
Like, at this point,
is a hotter ticket.
It is a higher ticket. And what school is it, Malcolm?
Mount St. Mary's University. He's like Upper Maryland.
Oh,
yeah, very nice. Very nice. WWE Backlash will go super fast on this. Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, I Quit match. Any thoughts?
Ronda? I couldn't care less. Ronda.
Elliot, you're with Ronda as well?
I couldn't care less also. I say Ronda because I think Ronda Rousey's not going to say I quit. And I
She's
think,
never going to say I quit.
yeah. And I think they are, again, storyline, they're building Charlotte up to be a 16, 17-time world champion. So she's got to lose in order to win again. So,
and I call shenanigans. There's no way that I can't see Charlotte saying I quit. I can't see it. So I think they're both whatever. The ring's going to collapse. Something goes dark. They all just get like Finn Balor demons, switch them. I don't know. Something's going to happen, but I don't see it. Here's an interesting one. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, the rematch.
This is the only reason I'm watching the pay-per-view. Rollins makes sense because like get your win back. But I just love Cody Rhodes. So I'm going with Cody because that theme song's a banger.
That's a great theme song.
It really is.
Elliot?
yeah, I'm thinking it could be Rollins, but not for that reason. I think there very well may be a third act of this. Vince loves doing 3 acts. And there are a couple of big. Will it last all the way to SummerSlam? No, I hope not, because I want Cody doing something even bigger after Rollins. But I could see a third rubber match and Rollins going over. I just if Cody wins this one too, it definitely solidifies Cody as being the next guy who's going to step up to the highest level. But does that hurt Rollins at all? Rollins doesn't seem like he can be hurt too much these days.
He can.
But WWE, man, you can. That is such a wild place right now that even a guy like Rollins loses twice in a row on pay-per-views. I'm sure he'd be thinking, what does Vince think about me right now? But I'm sure it's all good. But yeah, I think Rollins will win this, forcing a rubber match at the following pay-per-view.
I'm going with the even up as well. Seth evens it up. They keep this storyline going. It's just right now in regards to where they're slotting Cody, the reception Cody's getting in WWE. This is where he needs to be with some really good matches against Seth Rollins. Ultimately, he will go over. They probably push him to the main event status, put him up against Roman or something like that. But right now, Seth is where he needs to be. Let's have another good match, great match. Keep that story going. I'm gonna call for the tie up. Edge AJ Styles. This newly presented, very sinister, I love it, character that Edge is. Almost a callback to the Brood, but not exactly. It seems like it's a little bit more sinister than that with Damian Priest and maybe bringing in some others. I love what Edge is doing. He's got a great wrestler, great dance partner in AJ Styles. What do you think happens with this one?
I think Edge wins again, but I think it's because a new member joins in Tommaso Ciampa or just Ciampa, whatever. And I think that breaks off AJ from facing Edge, and then he just faces Ciampa, giving him a really good first start on the main roster.
Is there any thoughts to what happened last week Finn Balor, AJ Styles comes together, does the Bullet Club Too Sweet type thing. Is there any Finn Balor play in this, we think?
I forgot about that actually. Good question. No clue. I think he gets involved. I just still think Ciampa costs him the match anyway. And maybe instead of facing AJ Styles, maybe it's Balor. But I think Ciampa costs him that, and then it goes into AJ Ciampa or Balor Ciampa then.
What do you think, Elliot? AJ Edge.
I'd like to see Edge's stable grow. I think Ciampa is the right person. Much like House of Black, I want them to bring a female talent in also. And I think we also think Rhea Ripley is the right person for that too. I think she'd be great. So yeah, I think Ciampa gets involved. I think it does cost AJ the match. If AJ were to go over on Edge, then what's the sort of whole point of his brood? It's supposed to be destructive right now. So the way you keep it destructive and scary is by going over everybody, and AJ is the right person to go over on, and AJ is going to come out looking strong. I do think there'll be tag scenarios with Priest and hopefully Ciampa and AJ versus AJ and Finn. I think they will put those two together, and I can see those being a tag team for a couple of pay-per-views while Edge is on the top of the ramp watching and gets involved in his way.
You mentioned destruction. Let's quickly talk about Bobby Lashley versus Almost. What do we think? Big, as Big E would say, big, meaty men slapping meat.
Yes, sir. We like that. So, I love Omos. All right. So, fun little story. So, my best friend, her name's Rebecca. Her mom works at a jewelry store, and Omos just walks in, just chilling with his giant ass, like just standing there, all tall and stuff. So, I love Omos. He's so cool and super nice. And yeah,
apparently nicest guy in the world too.
Probably
Apparently
is. He
super
looks
nice
like
guy.
It's usually the biggest dudes are the nicest ones. So yeah, I think Omos should win just because he seems like a nice guy. Omos.
I want Omos to win because he's the biggest guy on the roster. He's getting better. He's not there yet. But if you want to build this character to be this, if he's that tall and he's you're gonna make him that menacing, can't have him drop these big blow off matches. So I think Omos should go over. Will that happen? I don't know. All these outcomes are at the whims of a 76-year-old guy. So there's not a lot of point in trying to guessing because who knows?
And let's be frank, WWE Backlash doesn't mean that much this time around, and it doesn't mean that much by even this next match and the last match we'll talk about. The bloodline, so Universal Champion and the Tag Champions are going up against RK Bro and Drew McIntyre at a pay-per-view. It doesn't even feels like a Raw main event, right? It doesn't feel like a pay-per-view. It's not the main event, but it doesn't even feel like a pay-per-view match. I guess Roman's been so great. He's wrecked so much shop. They're like, hey man, you take the month off. But do we care about this one? Is this something we care about?
I heard it's because Roman's injured right now, so they're trying to protect him. But
that could be the case.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I wanted to watch this pay-per-view was for that tag title unification match, and the fact that they got rid of it is my interest just dropped so heavily. But I mean, I guess Bloodline wins because Roman don't like losing. So and I love Roman, so I think Roman should always win.
It's the best thing in wrestling.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I guess Roman's still banged up from his match with Lesnar, so that's exactly what they're doing, and that makes sense. Yeah, it makes no sense to have even the hottest tag team in there right now, RK Bro, go over in this feud. No, the bloodline will remain.
So that's our WWE Backlash wrap up. That's our Owen Hart tournament predictions. There is so much going on, but not nearly as much on our end as Muscle Man Malcolm has on his end. Thank you for being our guest on this episode. Please tell everyone where they can find all of your amazing work, where they can follow you, how they can support you, how we can support you. We love what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, first off, thank you guys for inviting me. This has been great. I've had a good time. But y'all can find me anywhere on YouTube, Muscle Man Malcolm. The name's right here or here, whatever.
There it is.
Bar. I'm right there.
Sure it gets up.
Google that. and I'll pop up somewhere. Just Muscle Man Malcolm everywhere. Twitter is Malcolm Muscle. I retweeted this, so maybe if you guys are looking on Twitter, you can see it. Instagram, the Muscle Man Mal, I think is it. I don't know, but just follow me everywhere. Just Google Muscle Man Malcolm, and I should pop up. And that's pretty much it, man.
Everyone should be following you for your takes, for your videos, for your insight, for your personality. Yeah, it's coming right through. I'm feeling it. You are doing the job a lot of us secretly wish we were doing. So, best of luck to you. Best of luck on graduation. Congratulations.
Congratulations. That is a special accomplishment. I hope your family, all your friends understand that it's a big deal. Don't ever let anybody tell you it's not. Take it in, run with it. Last thing before we get you out of here, Mount Rushmore of wrestling. You got 4 names. Who do you put on it?
Oh man, Mount Rushmore. I mean, honestly, it's really just the big names. I mean, it's not that big of a shock. John Cena, Steve Austin, The Rock, and I'm not gonna say Terry's name because I hate him. The Undertaker.
Hey, right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Who is your dream interview guest?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Whew. Oh man, I always have like 12 different ones every single day.
Who is it today?
I want to say Omos, but it's really Mark Henry, but also Bianca and Biggie. Everyone. WWE. That's my dream interview. WWE.
And I believe that's going to happen.
It's going to happen
sooner before later. Malcolm.
I appreciate it.
Best of luck to you, and we will be in touch. Thank you again.
Definitely.
Wow.
How fun was that?
I want to live one day the way the guy lives his entire life.
That's awesome. We
have had a couple of weeks now of very impressive guests.
So what we try to do here.
Yeah, I'm sitting here impressed. So Cheats, quick toast to you for getting a lot of these lined up.
We haven't had wrestlers. We haven't had Darius Lockhart. We want. Look, we are going to work on, as we move forward, starting going to events, starting to meet some of our audience and meet other people in the business. And we have a good group. We've had a good group of fellow podcasters on the show. We're really excited about it. But like everyone else, like Malcolm said, we do it for fun. We do it for love. It's just a really great time for us. It's a fun time of our week. And we love wrestling, so that's a lot. That has a lot to do with it. Elliot, we've got to wrap up this show. We have a lot going on. You know where I'm going with this. I'm sure you know where you're going to go with this as well. We're probably going in the same place.
Yep.
What is your heel of the week outside of wrestling? Your heel of the week outside of wrestling.
I'm going to go. This is the one I had locked in for last week before we didn't do the show because I was really hot about it last week. So I'm going to let this right over to now. And I'm not going anywhere you think I'm going. This is really out of left field.
If it was last week, I'm definitely not going.
Super out of left field. This is also super random. It even cracks me up to say this. All right. My heel of the week, non-wrestling, businesses that have chosen to go cashless.
Why? I like that.
I'm 48 years old. Let me just rant for a second. All right. I'm 48 years old. I like carrying cash. I understand it is convenient to be cashless. However, This is the United States of America. That is legal tender. If you're going to operate, you must accept it. It's my legal tender argument. There's nothing wrong with this $20 bill. It says it right there.
Was there an experience that led to this?
Well, there's been a couple. The one that really started it, and again, it's sort of parody because I don't really care, but I like when places take cash. I don't like this trend. King's Dominion has gone cashless.
Okay.
And that was the thing that really I thought about this. And if you ask my wife, she says, "Oh my God, it's like the 10th time I've heard you rant about businesses that don't take cash." It's, I think you're underserving a part of the population. You talk about people's access to credit, access to banks. So, sometimes I know, but I get it. It's definitely more convenient. I've made this argument to my lawyer parents, and they were like, no dice. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to accept it. I was like, all right, whatever. Funny. But what I do like, if every place did this, here's one thing. The Kings Dominion and like the stadiums that have done it, they have kiosks where you can feed your cash in, get a prepaid card. All right, but you're in America. You take legal tender, take the cash.
Oh, geez, that's
There you go.
hilarious.
That's
Your
mine.
heel of the week.
That's my heel of the week.
I will not belabor the point. This has been a big week in my world, in the world that we live in regards to reproduction rights, the announcements, and those types of things. My read of this, and I haven't spoken a lot about it since it happened, given the stuff I have to do during the day. Fundamental breakdown all the way around. Very disappointing in regards to what we have heard of the alleged, probably soon to be, probably inevitable ruling. All of it is very, very scary and challenging for me on two fronts. The actual ruling, I disagree with and think that that is awful in itself. But the actual leak also scares. That is a new level of politicalization, if you will, in the media. We know that Supreme Court justices have their personal lives. We've learned, obviously, over the last couple of months that one particular Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas, and his wife are doing all kinds of things. But this is a new level of discourse if these types of leaks happen at that institution. I'm used to it happening in Congress. I'm used to it happening at the state level. I'm used to it happening at the local level. People love to leak stuff and run things out. This type of decision, the magnitude of it and the way that it came out this way is not something that I think anybody was prepared for at the time. Could be a blessing in disguise in regards to mobilization, but overall, just really disappointed, and then disappointed for what it will mean ultimately as we move forward. I'll stop there because I could go on forever.
Oh yeah, well let me add something quick to that. You're obviously right. That's obviously the worst thing that's happening right now. The reason I didn't go with it is only because I wanted to give you a forum because I knew you were probably going to, and if you're trying to pick a heel. There are so many. There's so many monsters that you can pick.
It's just kind of a pot on everybody's house.
That is,
I will pick Justice Alito for now since he wrote it.
Yeah, that you're right. That institution has always remained above the fray.
Above the
fray, with protection seemingly from both sides for many generations. And that has started to erode, and there are cracks in there now.
It's probably already eroded, right? Like,
yeah.
The Thomas wife stuff is tough enough and public enough, but it again, we should stop as a wrestling show, but it goes back to what the Senate did during the last Obama term in regards to holding up the Merrick Garland nomination, and now it's just like the gloves are off, right? You know. So, with that said, that's my heel. The whole situation, and don't get me wrong, I'm very clear on this. The ruling, I think, is also the heel of the week, but all of that is my heel of the week.
Quite worthy.
Elliot, what is your wrestling match? We've got to shout out Randy Orton. We didn't talk. We were going to rate the wrestler Randy Orton. If Malcolm didn't come on, Malcolm came on. We're so glad he did. We will rate the wrestler next week. Shout out Randy Orton, 20 years in service to the WWE.
20 years. And I was thinking about it, 20 years pretty consistently. That ranks right up there among the longest anyone did. Big Show did, I think, 20 years. Or just about. Kane did 20 plus years. Taker did 20 plus years. Think about some of the others, like Jericho had a long break in between. Rock and Austin didn't go nearly as long as we think we remember them doing. Jericho had a big. Mick Foley had years off in between. It's Randy Orton doing 20 years, and look at who's right behind Randy Orton as far as like consistent longevity. The Miz, Kofi Kingston, and Dolph Ziggler. They're right behind them. All four of them, first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing. Randy is an amazing wrestler, talented entertainer, has one of the best finishers of all time. The challenge with Randy is he wasn't box office Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So he never got the Cena, Rock, even to Taker in many ways, charisma of, hey, let's go over here to Hollywood and make films and become a big star, right?
Right.
He had to work through it. He's a professional wrestler through and through, and that's where he's been phenomenal. So shout out to Randy Orton, man.
Shout out to Randy Orton. And with that, I'm going to recommend Randy Orton versus Cactus Jack, Backlash 2004. It's widely regarded as his greatest match in WWE. If you have not seen it, it is violent. It is very bloody. Of course, most Cactus Jack matches are.
Right.
Randy, this also, that match really solidified the Legend Killer moniker for him. Mick was like the first of, he went to Shawn Michaels afterwards. He started taking down legends, and the first one he took down was Mick Foley at this No Mercy. So that's one of my recommendations of the week, because we're talking about Randy Orton being there 20 years. I also want to mention a match I saw on the fabulous TNA channel that shows TNA.
You are all about this channel.
I am really soaking up a lot of content. The great thing about it is it doesn't just show Impact shows. It shows ROH shows, shows New Japan. And from the show was called War of the Worlds. It was an ROH show back in 2014. Kevin Steen, now known as Kevin Owens, versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Seeing these two guys who both look like they do now, seeing two top WWE talent less than 8 years ago, right before they both kind of came over, in a small Ring of Honor ring. I think it was at the Philadelphia ECW arena. But seeing those two guys at the top of their game, basically WWE main eventers performing on an ROH show, and it was also just a terrific match. Kevin Steen was as hot as he has ever been when he was Kevin Owens. Steen's as hot as he's ever been. As Owens now when he was in Ring of Honor, and Shinsuke was already an initial superstar. That match was about 17 minutes, all over the place, inside, outside, top rope. They did a lot of stuff. Didn't have to use any weapons, just their skills. It was a fun match to watch. So pick that up when you get a chance to watch it.
There you have it. We will have to. Elliot, huge fan of the TNA channel and collection of shows.
Yep, keep it coming.
Hey, man, this has been a great episode. So excited to be able to introduce our audience to Muscleman Malcolm. Please follow him again. So we got to thank him. Elliot, as always, we will be back next Thursday, and then we will really be only a few days away from Capital Collision. So much stuff that we kind of left on the table as well. So much stuff happening in wrestling. One thing I'll say on the way out, I hope some company picks up Malcolm Bivens, the Diamond Mine manager over at NXT. There was another round of NXT releases. Bivens was in that round of releases. I love him. I think he's phenomenal. We don't use managers like we used to in wrestling. He had the potential to be one of those guys. I love what he does. So best of luck to him. I hope we're able to see him land safely somewhere very soon. With that said, we got to count this show out, Elliot. As always, 1, 2, 3.
Peace out.
Here.